Hey Poos, welcome to Point to Being Super. So let's get into the next series, right? So the next series is on how I sometimes try to help people and then they just show me why you should never help people. Like, even if you feel like that person needs help, guys, don't do it. Is one let's get some unkosho. Guys, there's nothing we can do about that. Anyway, so the first one, okay? First one, I bought what's this? I almost said bicycles. I bought motorbikes. I bought motorbikes because for Uber, right? Motorbike, I think it was 2021. I think it was 2021 when I bought motorbikes, right? Cool. I buy the motorbikes. Obviously there's challenges and whatnot else with drivers, none. But I'm gonna tell you guys about this one particular driver. So this driver, I met this driver because I had enough with the motorbike, right? So now I wanted to fix it so I can sell it. I think I needed to put in, I think the tire was flat. There was a few things. And when I tried to review or renew my car's license, I block the motorbike because Bati is ikishum kakwen. Okay, we're gonna find out later why. Right? So they're saying is it eligible to be on the road anymore? Okay, cool. Fine. So this guy, I literally go to the mall, I find a random guy with a motorbike. I ask him, can you please help me out? Because I can't drive a motorbike, right? So I'm like, can you please help me out? I want to drive my motorbike to like a testing center so they can test it and whatnot else and then tell me what I need to fix. And then I can get it renewed and I can get my car renewed. This guy, he's like, so we drive. I must be by the testing center. They're like, no, Angazi, I need to go to Joburg. There's a place in Joburg, nani. They can't help me here. Okay, cool. So we set a date here. So then he calls me this one time. He's like, no, he's found a place. We don't need to go to Joburg. They also do testing. I'm like, okay. At the time, I'm at home. So then I'm like, okay, you can go. Then I'll just wire the money to the bank accounts, right? So he gets there. I talk to the people. I'm like, I need your banking details, nani. So I pay. Once I pay, they're like, no, actually they can't do it because it's blocked wherever I need to go to Joburg City. Okay, fine. They refund me. Then now we're going to Joburg CBD, right? And this guy, guys, I'm convinced that he's like, so we fixed the bike. I fixed the bike. He's like, no, he's gonna take it to one of those mechanic, blah blah blah, so that we can go to Joburg. Sharp. So he takes it to the mechanic. The mechanic, I think it was like Boma 2.4. The tire was like another 800. And this guy, I'm paying him. Yes, I'm paying him. So every time he comes to help me out with the bike or to like come drive the bike, I pay him like 150 rands, 99. So I've paid a lot of money now, by now. Like Boma 4 point. So fine. Then I'm like, one day I was at home. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's go today. I'm free. Let's go to Joburg. Because we fixed the bike, we fixed everything. We go to Joburg. Must figure Goli. The guy tests it, nan. testing ground. Then he's like, the oil is leaking. I'm like, okay, so if I can go fix the oil now, you can clear my bike, right? He's like, yeah, if you want to do that, then sure. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, do you know people that are close by? Because I don't want to drive back this side and then have to go back to Joburg CBD, right? Fine. He's like, you know what, actually, you seem very eager to do it, so it's fine. I'll give you the clear, and then afterwards just go fix the oil. I'm like, okay, cool. Fine. He gives us the paperwork. I go to it as a traffic department, so he's like, now I have to go to the traffic department. I get there, guys. This bike, it has 3,300 in tickets. Okay, why? The bike ibi driver umuntu who didn't have a license. So then the license that person produced to me was fake. Okay. So what they say is they hold the owner of the bike accountable. So if you want to buy Uber bikes, guys, I strongly disagree. It's more expensive than it is income. Sometimes these people don't pay. Omunya sent me a literal casket, and he was like, he has a funeral at home, so he can't pay because he needs to contribute. I'm like, why would you send anyone a casket, guys? Why can't you just say, no, we have a funeral at home? Why must they be a casket? Like, really? But anyway, so fast forward, guess buye. I pay the 3,000 because I'm like, now I'm already in CBD. I don't want to now have to go back to CBD and fix this thing again. So let me just finish everything. I paid 3.3. We put in petrol for the bike. Sharp. Now we're driving back. He convinces me. He's like, no, yeah, nah, he's a good person. He's gonna pay. Hey. Unlike the other people in. So before that, like, he had casually told me, you know, he hasn't been working for a while and whatnot else, none. So me, being a good person that I am, I'm like, you know what, dude, let me give you some room to breathe. Because if you say you haven't been working for a while, then, you know, there's maybe debts accumulated. There's a lot that you probably need to catch up on financially. So then I'm like, okay, cool. Don't pay me for the first month and a half. So how the payment happens is they pay you 600 Rand each week. So it's supposed to be 612. It's supposed to be 2.4 a month, right? So then fine. I'm like, no, just don't pay me for like the first week and a half. Fix your life. At some point when you go to the wife, phone in guys, you know, at home, like by my house, my kids, when someone changes their phone, they give it to my kids. So I have a lot of phones sitting idle because they'll focus on the newer phone, right? So if Umkulu gave them, like now they're using the phones that Umkulu gave them, Nini, I think in April. So if, let's say, my sister were to change the phone now and give them that phone, they would leave them Kulu phones and then focus. So I have phones chilling, is what I'm trying to get to. They old, but I mean, if I'm giving it to you for free, you know, I find. So I'm thinking, good to me as a wife, I can give her this whatnot, guys. To a point where hey, I go home. I'm like, cause now I'm thinking, okay, this guy, we're building a long-term relationship, right? So we gotta work together. So if I can, let me help out. I go home, I take out some of my clothes, fold okay, the next time we meet up, for the wife, right? I gave her stuff from like before COVID, because before COVID I was way thinner than this, right? So I'm like, this should fit her. Like my pencil skirts, guys, I saw. So it's very rare a pencil skirt. And I usually, for pencil skirts, I usually bought a size smaller so that it's, but anyway, that's besides the point. So then fine, I go home, I pack. Nani, I'm like, okay. Nje mangibona izinto that are helpful. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna give it to this guy. We're gonna name this guy Ubaika. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna give it to Baika Nani. So he's like, yeah, if you need assistance in the house, my wife is there. Uyakwazi ukusebenza nani yabo. Sharp. I've never really called the wife who says usebenza endlini. Sharp. Iphele ke manje month and a half. So when the month and a half is over, he's supposed to pay me now, but I'm like, oh, okay, he just forgot. Iphele viki. How? Okay. And then I contact him, fam. Our agreement was you're gonna stop paying by this date and whatnot else. So he's like, oh yeah, no, I had to go fix the tire again. The guy who fixed the tire didn't do it properly. He sends me a picture. To a point of Woody, I haven't been using the bike. It's been chilling at home, so it hasn't been earning an income. Oh, okay. So if the bike is not earning an income, why don't you just bring it back? Because I'm a bike, I like here. So I'm like, why don't you just bring it back so that I can thingy, right? It can chill by the garage. It's safe. I know. I'll bring it back. Sorry, guys. I'll bring it back. Sharp. Okay. Then this guy, Ubaika. So because guys, I have my actual work in between. I have my other work. Like, I'm not focused on the bike, but a week passes. I'm like, no, man, wait a minute. A bike now, manje. We haven't paid. The bike is not back. And I'm gonna bump into him. See a mall. I bump into him. Yeah, biker. What's happening? Oh, get to me now. You know what, biker? Let me just give you this bike, because my problem is already he had a ticket for 500, so a part of the 3.3 was also his 500 because he was speeding somewhere. So I'm like, let me just give you this bike because it gives me hassles. When I now have to renew my car, I can't, right? When I have to renew my car, I can't because this bike has tickets and it blocks me. So let's do the paperwork. You have the bike, it's yours. Because Vela, it's not like it's earning me an income. If anything, it's just an expense now, right? Fine. Then on that day, he was drunk. He's like, yo, my sister, my girlfriend left me, my wife left me. Hey. I'm just like, and now he's like, no, I don't want you to think I'm a crook. Don't give me the bike. Hey. So now he's like sitting with the other Uber people. I'm like, guys, am I not making sense? I'm gonna give this guy the bike for free. I'm not saying he must pay. I'm not saying he must do anything. I'm just saying, bring paperwork, bring your ID. We're gonna transfer ownership. The bike is yours forever. Hi, yo, my sister, I don't want you to think I'm a crook. I'm like, how are you a crook? Because I came up with this idea myself, yabo. Fine. He's drunk and he's not really speaking sense. So I'm like, let me just leave him. Monday, I'm like, okay, because a bike meal, bring the bike. Then when we get a chance, we're gonna go to the traffic department and we're gonna change ownership, and then you can take the bike in peace, right? Then he says to me, yeah, no, he's gonna bring it, blah blah blah. Cool. I send him a code. He gets in, mangbuga the registration. He gets in, the registration is my bike, but when I go outside, it's not my bike. So then I'm like, how did you get in with my bike's registration, but you're not driving my bike, right? He's like, no, my sister, this bike doesn't have paperwork, so I use your bike's paperwork. Because when you give them the bike, you need to give them like the disc thing, right? I'm like, but then I'm gonna get tickets. Because now when I'm gonna get into trouble, because when, let's say, the traffic cops stops you, what's on the bike doesn't speak to what you have, the paperwork that you have, like the license doesn't speak to each other. No, I never told. I'm like, no, actually, bring back the bike, bring back the paperwork. Hi, my sister, I'm gonna bring it. Hey. Because I'm like, now I'm gonna be accumulating even more tickets. I don't even know how much a ticket for fraudulent paperwork is. So then I'm there. I'm like, no, bring back the bike, bring back the thingy, the paperwork. When we are done with the ownership, what do I do? Then only I'm gonna give you all these things. I think the paperwork I took then, yes, I took then. I'm like, no, you're actually not even gonna leave with this. Bring back the bike, right? If they stop you, because he lives close, so I'm like, if they stop you on Malibongwe, it's fine. I'm gonna drive to you and I'll explain the whole thing to them. Just call me. So fine. He's like, okay, he's gonna come back later with the bike. Nine. So later we're supposed to meet at the mall. Right? Fine. Then at the mall, he's like, yo, I got a thingy. So I go to the mall. He's like, yo, I got another order. I have to quickly rush to Banbani. I have to rush to Four Ways. I have to rush to Randburg. I have to, yeah, but I'm like, okay. I'm like, no, I'm gonna chill here until you come back. This is around Boma 6 o'clock. How as I'm chilling, I'm like, baby, I'm with my partner. I'm like, baby, this is my registration. And because earlier I'm able to go to the app and look at the registration. I'm like, nah, baby, this is my registration. It drive Omunyumutu that I don't know. Oh, I am like, okay. I go to the guy. I park. Well, I was already parked. I just moved the car closer to him. I'm like, dude, can we chat? Whose bike is this? He's like, no, I got it from someone. I'm like, who's that someone? Because this bike is mine, right? And I show him. I had pictures of the paperwork also. So I show him pictures. I'm like, this is the paperwork. It's my bike. So who gave you this bike? This bike is not moving. It's not working. He's like, no, this other guy gave it to him. Is it biker? I'm like, is it biker? He's like, yeah, it's biker. I'm like, okay, do me a favor. Can you please drive this bike? You're gonna follow me. Please drive this bike to my house. Then the rest we'll chat about. I'll drive you back to your house afterwards. But yeah, let's just take it to my house. He's like, okay, cool. He's gonna do that. So he was a nice and humble guy, cool. We drive. As we're driving back in now, because now he's in the car, baby's sitting here. So as we're driving back, I'm telling him, I'm narrating this entire story. I'm like, biker, I gave him this bike. And I even gave him leeway. And he's like, yo, that's very rare. Usually people are like, yo, rental, yabo. I'm like, so I'm trying to show him good. I was trying to be such a decent human being. And yeah, he's using my niceness as, I don't know what should say, I'm a fool. So then he's there. He's like, yeah, he has a wife. They always have wives. He has a wife. So he works for his kids. Yeah, he was paying biker. So biker was now subleasing. I'm not even gonna say subleasing because I was not getting rental. This bike to someone else. I'm like, do you even have a license? Because when we went sometime during like the year, I can't remember the dates. I had to pay 3,300 because this bike was being driven by a person who doesn't have a license. Did he even check that? And I told Baka, I'm like, did he even check if you have a license? No, really, my sister, really, let me be honest, I don't have a license. I'm like, he already knows that I paid a lot of money to get this bike working again, and for the fact that it was being driven by someone who doesn't have a license. He goes and he rents it out to someone who doesn't have a license. So I call biker. I'm like, biker, your massa boss. And guys, I'm gonna stop swearing in this podcast. But anyway, so I'm like, dude, I thought we were building a long-term working relationship here. Apparently not. Two, you said Emily bike. This guy says he's been using it for like a month or just a little over a month. So you've been getting rental for the bike. Yes, guys. I'm like, actually, I'm not gonna give you the bike. I'm gonna sell the bike, kahle. And I ended up selling its value. I'm like, no, at least now it's at my house. The paperwork is at my house. I don't need anything from you, right? So then fine. Buy a car the next time. Say I'm phone. Well, no, he sent me a message like in the middle of the night, guys. Like I'm 12. Hey, my sister. I found out that I was being targeted. What's a witchcraft? What? Yabo? He was being targeted, and these people. That's why no wife hambile. It's because of this targeting that they're doing to him, and that's why even now I was trying to do something nice for him and it fell through because they are targeting him. He now doesn't have an income. He's blah blah blah. Yes, sob story. Please, my sister, if you can just trust me one last time, ubayin. If you can just trust me one last time, my sister, because these people, they don't want to see me doing well. Guys, they don't want to see me doing well. That's why they targeted me, and even my wife left, and whatnot else, and that, and this, and that. Yes, I just kept quiet. Ngafunda, I read it, and I go TikTok until I fell asleep. I put stressing. I sold the bike. But I was just like, this guy, like I was so upset. I'm like, dude, I'm out here thinking, now I have a long-term driver. Guys, yes, honest. I now have a long-term driver. Because, like, I was even willing to understand nan. And I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't take my phone as a car and go give them to the supposed wife, which I don't even know exists anymore. But okay. But yeah, so that was I tried to help a person and it backfired. But anyway, so I sold the bike. I no longer have a bike. Guys, this thing I'm a Uber, I wouldn't recommend unless you have a driver. So let's say you have a brother chilling at home who's not working, then you can buy a car. Because he was even saying, he's like, yeah, my sister, I saw a car that's 40,000 rand or so. And says 40,000 or how much. So you can just like, guys, yes, I receive, guys, because when people look at me, they just see money. So I'm like, guys, I receive this money apparently that you guys are seeing. I receive all of it. God, shower me with this money. Because I'm like, why would you think I have a random 40k chilling waiting for you to scam me? Even the guy who bought the bike, he's like, yeah. So he's like, why are you selling? I'm like, dude, this thing was a lot of admin. People didn't pay on time. Sometimes they wouldn't pay. The one time I even had to go with the car track because it has a tracker. I had to call Cartrack to come with me to go fetch the bike because the guy was refusing to bring back the bike. And guys, hey, criminal. But anyway, so I'm like, it was just a lot of admin. He's like, yeah, no shame, I understand. Most people who invest in bikes, it's because they just want money that will come in like on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, whatever. But have capital nan yabo. So then he's there, he's like, but I can invest in his business. He's like, no, you can put maybe 80,000 or 100,000. Then I pay you back the 100,000 as 4,000 each month. Why? If I have 100,000, why do I want to have it back as 4,000 rand each month? Like, make it make sense. Yeah, so you can pay it back as 4,000 each. Guys, wangisendela my proposal, yeah, my business is legit. Yes, guys, once that money hit my bank account for the bike, I was like, but hey guys, angazi mangizothi ama-scammer or ama-opportunist or I don't know. I was just like, why would I want to give you 100K so I can have this 100K back as 4,000 rand a month over how long? Over 2 years, 3 years? Like, does it make sense? No. Yeah, so if I sell, then you will get maybe a 10%, but I've put in 100K. But anyway, so anyway, my advice would be, do not get an Uber car, do not get an Uber bike. Guys, those things don't have, because logically you're like, oh, okay, this makes sense, because a bike is what, 20K? Well, I bought mine, it was still about my 18,000. So 18K, you're like, okay, each month I'm getting about my 2.4. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. By the 10th month, okay, I've now made the 20K, right? So I've now built up my initial investment, and everything else now is sort of like a profit, and I can use it to repair the bike, blah, 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 blah. But that's not what happens, because these honeys, they don't want to pay. Like, umuntu uzomlandela for 600, guys. Umlandela umuntu, because they're supposed to pay 600 each week. It's a lot of effort. Don't do it, guys. Try other investments. Out of all the investments that I've tried, that one, no. The only one that worked out was Bitcoin, but nakona I had to wait. It was 300 and something. I'm like, hey, Maliam, Jesus. Yanele 1 point. So yeah, anyway, that was story number 1. Thanks for listening, and goodbye, boos. Like, subscribe, do everything that needs to be done to make the pods to be done and be undone. And George, where are the shoes? Bye, boo boos.